Thank you very much. So now we have had the complete set of the 13 cases and projects. Well, if you have any questions, comments that you would like to clarify at this point, please do so. We would suggest, though, because we are very good in the timing, that we already stop at 6:30, so in 10-15 minutes, and convene back tomorrow morning with the roundtables and with more in-depth discussion and exchange on the projects. But anything that you would like to comment on or ask specifically at this stage, please feel free to do so right now.
Actually, I've got a question for Tallinn. Yeah, sorry. It's about the heating plan on the museum. I found it really interesting when I read the paper, and you didn't explain what was the use and how you was able to heat the museum. So if you can explain it. Yes, this for you.
Oh, hello again. The experimental heating system which we used in submarine museum or seaplane hangars, which was really unique heating system, which is basically 400, about a hectare of pipes under the sea. And if you imagine, I think that Quebec can imagine quite well the temperatures like -30 degrees. And when you have to heat the room like 100,000 cubic meters, and how much it costs, then the heating system under the sea, where the temperature was +13, is really working, and it is really sustainable system. And some countries, Nordic countries, are really interested to use the same, which we tried, which was really the word again. Okay, it was just a test, but it works. What to say more about this sustainable heating system? But it has its own problems. Of course, it needs quite an invest to build it, but you can get the money back quickly, and also the one thing is that. I think that in your countries it is not the way that the gas is the cheapest way to heat buildings. We are near the big gas countries, so this is the cheapest way to heat. But the under the sea seawater heating system is 8 times more effective than the gas. But it'll need for you to understand how it works. Then some kind of constructor must give you the plans, and it is quite difficult to explain for me to how it really works in details. But if somebody is really interested, I have the project, the heating project, and I can send it to you by PDF. Yeah, please.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I believe the idea was to point to that special aspect of your project, and to make all the other participants aware of the fact that this exists, and so to have more details later on a bilateral basis. I think Charles has some questions.
Yeah. I have two quick questions. The first one is for Evora and Regensburg. I would like to know how much universities are involved in the designing of the conceptual framework of your model, if they are involved at all. And the second question is for Regensburg. You said you have completed 35% of the measures. Is it just about the HERO project, or there are other measures that account for the 35%?
Maybe shall I start? Okay, so well, when it comes to universities, in our project there were no universities included, and I think, to be quite honest, that's a big strength, because it comes from practitioners. It was from people from the cities who developed this methodology, and it was also those people who tried it out. So it's not a complicated theoretical model, but it's something very practical that can be put to use. And your second question, when it comes to the 35% of activities that are already ready, with this figure I was referring to Regensburg only. This was in Regensburg. With this management plan, we developed about 60 key projects. We identified 60 key projects out of some 200 that came out of the brainstorming with the citizens, etc. And out of this, 35% are ready or almost ready, after 1 year, which I think is quite good. But of course, we still have a lot of things to implement in the next year, but this was the idea. The idea was to have a framework for the next 5 to 10 years. What can we do to find the balance between the preservation and the economic development?
In our case, we are facing a methodology that was developed for natural sites. For 15 years, they have been working with several universities, mainly in America, in the States, and in Costa Rica, for instance. The challenge for us is, as I try to say, to adapt this methodology designed for a natural park to another kind of site, a urban place, a city, sorry. In our special case, we benefit from all the research and the knowledge that have been already developed for PUP during 15 years, and we have the great participation of the University of Évora. Mainly the courses of tourism and special heritage, and the professors from the Master of Valorization of Patrimônio, Heritage Valorization, sorry, the Portuguese was coming. So in our case, the University of Évora is deeply involved in the process.
I just have a question for Matthias. I would like to know how the participating process was implemented. What were the different stages in this process? How did you start? Which were your objectives? How did you choose the people involved in this project? And how did you manage to do it all until the end?
Okay, first of all, when it comes to the participation of the stakeholders in the core group, we made within the European project an evaluation. We tried to identify in all the cities which are the main stakeholders. But in the beginning we started the stakeholder group with about 10, and at one time we were like 35, because we received a huge interest, and it was a lot of work for me as a moderator, but we didn't stop, because we think the more people we have, the better it is, because they're all standing behind it. And when it comes to the citizen participation, we hired an expert from in Germany we have a school of planning called the Dortmunder Schule, and they are really specialists of how to involve citizens. And we had two phases. First we had an information phase. We made a real big media campaign and told everyone what's going on. We had a stand in the pedestrian zone, we had postcards, and our idea was that every citizen at least know that he has the chance to participate, and also how and to which extent. And then the second phase was the actual participation that was for 2 days, and again on the first evening there was a sort of information meeting, and then we asked the citizens to go to one of those groups. We had these thematic groups and the citizens can choose, and in each group there was one from the civic administration. Before that we gave the people from the civic administration a seminar how to be a good moderator. Very important, because it's not so easy to leave your expert role at home and only be the moderator. And then we split up in these small groups, and this really, it created so much trust, and this was really the secret that it went really good, because in Regensburg we have a very long tradition of very bad citizen participation. Usually it's a big room, it's 200 people, and it's like, who's going to throw the first stone? And the people in the city administration, the day before, they all became sick. And from the lowest one to the highest one, because no one wanted to go, so it was a very difficult situation. But I think with this breaking up in small groups and with this training of the employees that they are not afraid anymore, we were very successful. And really from the evaluation, I'm very glad that we did it this way.
If I may add, maybe the Luxembourg experience, which is a bit an older one, beginning of the 2000s, we went about it in a different way. We just went into the different areas. So we were within the districts of the city, and we just invited everybody and informed everybody, really household per household, that we were going to want to do something like that. And we very specifically did not engage in the groups from the beginning, but we also took somebody from the outside. And we chose, I don't know whether it was good or bad, because that's the only experience we have. We mainly chose architecture and urbanism studies that were in the same districts. So they were used to the functioning of that district, and who were not in favor of the municipality necessarily, but they were just acquainted with the area. So they were the first to be moderating the situation, and only after the third meeting, people from the municipality would engage, because they didn't want any stones of people, or if they were throwing stones, they would be throwing at each other, and you would recognize where were the sensitive areas. And so after that, then that would be implemented, as I explained this morning, and sent out to the different technical services, say, what can you do with the input coming from the areas? And this has been going back and forth since 2004, basically.
Thank you very much.